Hello Divination and welcome. We have a 5-part mini-series for you, how to create an elegant wedding website with Divi. Throughout this tutorial, I'll be using the Visual Builder and you get to see me build this website step by step behind the scenes. The goal of this mini-series is to inspire you and show you the power of Divi. So without wasting a lot of time, let's dive in and let me show you how we managed to build this website. In the first part of our mini-series, we designed our announcement page. So in this video, we'll be designing our gallery page for our wedding website. Okay, so let's start off by going on to the dashboard. Now, if you recall, we already created this page. So if you come here to pages and then click on all pages, we can see here that the gallery is already here. So let's just click on edit and then use the Divi builder. Now, throughout this course, we'll be using the Visual Builder, so let's go ahead and click on Use Visual Builder. So in our Visual Builder here, what I'm going to do quickly is to add the background color of this hero section. So I'm going to come over here to Section Settings, click on Background, and then I'm going to add my background color. So I'm going to click here and just paste my color, and then go ahead and save. Next, we need to add a single row. And we need a text module. So I'm going to search for my text module. So next we need to add our text, and it's going to be called Capturing the Moment. Now let's move on to the Design tab. So in here, we're going to go into the text and make sure that our orientation is centered. Our text font is Tangerine. And then I'm going to add my text color. I'm going to paste it here. And now we need to adjust the size. So I'm going to come over here and adjust the settings for the different views. Desktop is going to be 90 pixels. Our tablet is going to be 80 and a smartphone is going to be 66. Okay, so go ahead and save and exit. Okay, so our next section is going to have our bride and bridegroom. So let's add a new section here. Click on regular, and we need 2 images for this. So we're going to choose 2 columns. And in those 2 columns, we're going to have the image module. So as I'm designing, if you notice, I am actually searching for the items I need to use. So by searching, it makes things easier because it just increases the speed of your workflow. So I'm going to add my first image. I'm going to click Upload Files, select Files. And then I'm going to go to my desktop because my folder, which has all my images, is on my desktop. For elegant themes, and we're on part 2, so I'm going to double click this and access all my images. So what I'm going to do to make things easier for me, because I don't want to keep going back and forth and uploading these images from my computer, so I'm going to select all of them and then click open. So now they're all being imported into my media library. So whenever I need them, all I have to do is to come to my media library and select which image I need. So once all the images have been uploaded, all you have to do is to select the one that you want to use and then click Upload an Image. Right, so the first image that we need to use is this one. So I'm going to click on Upload an Image. Okay, so let's go ahead and save. And now I'm going to add my next image. In fact, instead of searching it again, I'll just duplicate this and just change the image. So I'm going to come over here and click on Duplicate. And then I'm going to drag this over here. Click on the settings. And then I'm going to delete and click Upload. So this is the image that I need. I'm going to click Upload an Image. So now we have our both images. Now it's time to go into our row settings and make some changes. So I'm going to click on the settings. So we need this row to have a custom width. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and just search for custom width. So by searching for custom width, it just makes my search of this option easier, because if I just search for it, all my options come up here. Right, so I'm going to click on Use Custom Width and I'm going to add 60%. And let's come over here to our custom margin and add 5% to the bottom. So once we're done with that, let's go ahead and save. And now it's time to add our borders around these images. So let me come here into my module settings. Then I'm going to go into advanced, custom CSS, Then in the main element, I'm going to paste this CSS code. Now, if you'd like to use the CSS code, you can also go to our post, which I've linked in the show notes below. Okay, so now that we have our border, I'm going to save this, and then we're going to move on to the next image, going to advanced custom CSS, and then I'm going to paste it. So now our both images have borders. Next, it's time to build our next section. So I'm going to save. Right, so let's add our next section. So I'm going to come over here and click this plus button here to add our section. So I'm going to click on regular, and I'm going to click on single row. So before we make any changes to our modules, or before we add our modules, I'm going to come over here and add our background color for the section. So I'm going to click on my settings, and then I'm going to come over here to background and add our color. I'm just going to paste it in here and save. Now it's time to add our text module. So I'm going to come over here and click this plus button here and add our text module. So I'm just going to search for it and select it. Right, so the message that we need here is, thank you for being a wonderful part of our wedding. So I'm just going to type it. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to design. So I'm going to come over here into the text and make sure that it's centered. And the text color, I'm going to paste it in here. The text font, it needs to be tangerine. So I'm going to come over here and select tangerine. Now let's adjust the sizes. So we're going to make the text font size 70. And then let's adjust these for the tablet. So for the tablet, we're going to leave it at 70, but we're going to change it on the mobile to 50. So I'm just going to adjust that. For the text line height, we're going to make it 1 EM. And then finally, we need to add a margin bottom of 5%. So I'm going to search for margin, and then it's right here. I'm going to add my 5, and then I'm going to go ahead and save. Next, let's add our next text module. So I'm just going to search for it here. Now for this, I'm going to use some dummy text. So I'm just going to paste it in here. Now I got this from Lorem 2. So if you'd like to use this dummy text, you can just go to lorem2.com. Right, so let's come over here to the design tab. So our text needs to be justified, and our font needs to be railway light. And we're going to make it bold, add our text color. Line height, I think 1.6 works. Okay, so that's looking good. I'm going to go ahead now and save. Now our next section is our favorite pictures section. So this is where we get to show the favorite pictures of the bride and the groom. So let's add our new section. So I'm going to come over here and click on regular. And we're going to need a single row. And we're going to need a text module for this. And then I'm just going to go ahead and type our text. So I'm going to call it our favorites. So I'm going to save this for now while I do my customization. So let's come over here to our section settings, and we're going to add a background color. So let's come over here to our row settings. So we're going to change the background color. So I'm just going to add my color here. And then we're going to make this full width. So I'm just going to search for full width, and we have it right here. So I'm going to click on full. Okay, so I'm going to save for now. Now let's go into the text module. So I'm going to go into the settings, and we are going to go into the design tab and make sure that this is centered. And let's edit our text color. I'm just going to paste it in here. Our font is tangerine. And the sizes, we're going to add 100. And then for the smartphone, it's going to be 60. And then finally, our line height needs to be set to 1.6. And once you're done with that, I'm just going to go back to my desktop view. Actually, we have our background color on the wrong item here. So let's go back to our section settings. and add our background there. So I'm going to paste it. And then we can either delete our background color from our row settings, or you can just leave it as it is because they're both the same colors anyways. So let's add another section which is going to have our images. So I'm going to click on regular. So for this, we're going to need 4 columns. So I'm going to select the 4 columns. We're going to close that for now. Let's go into our section settings and add our background color. So I'm just going to add it and just paste my hexadecimal number in there. Save. So now it's time to add our images. So I'm going to click here to add a new module and just search for my image module. Click upload. So this is my first image. I'm going to click upload. So I'm going to save that. So you need to do this process until you've added 8 images. So now that we have all our images uploaded, let's go into the settings of our image module, go to advanced, and this time we need to add a CSS class. So I'm going to paste my class here, and the class is called Polaroid. Next, go to custom CSS, and in the main element you need to add the CSS code. So what this code has done now is it has just added a slight rotate onto our image. So what you need to do now is to add this CSS class and this CSS code in the main element to all the images. Okay, so I've added all my CSS classes. So what we need to do next is to add our CSS code, which is going to style our images. So one way we can do this is we can come over here to expand settings and add the CSS code to this page. So I'm going to come over here to our page settings, click on CSS, and I'm going to paste my CSS code in here. So now you can see that it's been stylized. The next way to do it is to add it into our theme options. So you just need to go into Divi, theme options, and scroll all the way down until you see the custom CSS tab. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and save. So next we're going to make our images look playful. So I'm going to come over here to my second image, click on the settings. So let's go on to my custom margins. So I'm just going to search for margins. So on our margins here on the top, I'm going to add -10. And then left, I'm going to add -20. Like that. And then finally, I need to go into my CSS settings and add some code to my main element. So I'm going to click on advanced, custom CSS, and then I'm going to paste my code in here. Okay, so you can see now our rotation is slightly different. So this is how we create this playful look. So what we need to do now is to apply these changes to the rest of the images. If you want the exact code, you can go on to the post, which we've linked in the show notes below. Okay, so this is how my images are looking. Now, just a quick note here. You can actually go in here and adjust these further if you want to, because it may be that the way these are looking may not be, your taste. So you can always come in here and adjust the margins to have a custom look. Like, let's say, for example, I could just add a -30 here to make the image slightly bigger, and then on the top I could say -10. Right, so you can see by playing around with the margins, I can just customize this and get the look that I want. Okay, so go ahead and do that. So okay, so now that we've added all this, the next thing we need to do is to hide this row. So I want to come here into the row settings, and under the design, in fact, on the advanced, click on visibility, and let's disable this on phone and tablet, and then click save. And then you need to also make sure that people can view these images in a light box. So we can see here that it's deactivated. So make sure that you click on this, because it's important that when people click on the image, it shows in a light box. So go ahead and do this to all the images. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create a new row, and this time this row is only going to be visible on mobile and tablets, because this one that we have here is only visible on desktops. So let's go ahead and add a new row. So I'm just going to click this row button, and for this we're going to need 2 images. So I'm just going to close that, and the 2 images that we need are this one. So I'm just going to clone that and drag it here to the bottom like that. And then I'm going to clone the other one. Which is this one. And I'm going to drag it to the bottom here. Now I need to go into the row settings and then make sure that on visibility, this is only visible on phones and tablets. So I'm going to disable this on the desktop like that and click save. Now these 2 rows are meant to be full width. So let's go ahead and make that happen. So I'm going to come here into the row settings. I'm just going to type in full, and I'm going to make this full width. Save that. Come to the bottom one and do the same thing. I'm going to type full, and I'm going to make it full width, and then save. There are usually a lot of pictures taken at weddings. So to make it easy, we are going to create galleries that are going to be displayed based on the last name of the guests. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to need to show a list of names and link them to the section of the page where you'll find the images. So let's start by adding a brand new section. So I'm going to click on add a new section. It's going to be a regular section, single row. And we are going to need a text module. So I'm going to add it right here. And then I'm going to type in here, search images by last name. Like that. And then let's go into the design tab. Click on text. We're going to change our text color. So I'm going to paste my color in here. We're going to make sure the text is center. And the font is tangerine. And the size needs to be 100 for the desktop. And let's go into the settings of this phone, and for the phone we're going to make it 68, and then on the line height we're going to make it 1.6. Now let's go to the custom margins. So I'm just going to type in margins. So the top needs to be 2% and the bottom needs to be 5%, like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and save, and we also need to go into the row settings and add the margins as well. So I'm just going to search for it and add 5% bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, so now that we have our title in place, let's go and add a new row. And we're going to need 3 columns. And these are going to be text modules. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to add all our customizations to the first text module and then just duplicate it over. So it saves us time applying these settings to each and every module. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to type the names. So I'm going to start off with Adams, Avery, Bailey, and Brown. So next we need to add links to these names. So I'm going to highlight it and add a custom link. So I'm going to click this chain icon. Now for these custom links on the URL, you need to add this # and the name. So I'm going to type his name here like that, and then click OK. So go ahead and do this to the rest of the names. Okay, so now we've added all our links. So next, let's go into our design tab. So in the design tab here, we need to go into text and then text orientation. Let's set that to right. Our font needs to be Railway Light. We're going to make it bold. Our text font size 20. Text color, I'm going to paste it in here. And our line height needs to be 1.6. Okay, so now that we have these names, what we need to do is to clone these and add them to the other 2 columns. So I'm just going to come over here and clone that twice. And then I'm going to drag these to the right place. Now you can see that as I'm dragging these over, the text orientation is wrong. So let's come over here and set this to centered and this one to left. So I'm going to come over here into the settings. I'm going to click on design, click on text orientation to center, and then click save. And then let's adjust this one as well. Go into the settings, come over here to design, text, and this one needs to be left. Okay, so that's looking good now. So let's go ahead now and save. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have two versions of these names. So we're going to have one to be displayed on desktops and the other ones on mobile and tablets. So let's clone this. So next we need to come over here into the settings and under visibility, let's disable this on phone and tablets. Click on save. And then we need to come over here to the second row, click on settings, click on advanced, and then on this one on visibility, we're going to make sure that it's disabled on the desktop and then click save. Now we need to go into these names and customize them. So in the first column, I'm going to go into the text settings, highlight the name. Now we don't want our name to be the same as the one in the top row. So we need to come over here and just change those links. So I'm going to add a 1 to these names like that, so that we have different instances. Then we're going to do the last one, which is brown. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save that. So what I'm going to do now, since this one has all our changes, is to clone that one. So I'm going to delete these two and then clone this one. And then we need to come back into the settings and click on design and just make sure that this is aligned center. And then the final one is aligned to the left. Okay, so we're almost done. Let's click on save. So now it's time to add the gallery sections. So let me save this page so I don't lose all my settings. Right, so let's add our brand new section. So I'm going to click on new section. We're going to click regular, but this time we're going to choose this one. I'm going to close this for now because we need to first add the background color for this section. So I'm going to come over here to my section settings, click on background, and I'm just going to click this plus button and paste my color like that. And save changes. So firstly, let's start off by adding our text module, and then we're going to add the name. So this one is going to be Adam. Click on design settings. So text, our font is going to be Tangerine. So I'm going to come all the way here and select Tangerine. On the text orientation, we're going to make sure that it's centered, and the font size, let's make that 60. Okay, and then on the text line height, we're going to make it 1.6. Let's click save. Now let's go into the row settings. So I'm going to click the settings icon. So we're going to start by adjusting the margins. So I'm going to search for margins. So it's 5% top and 5% bottom. So I'm just going to add my 5%. And then we're going to have a custom width. And we're going to make this 60%. Okay, so let's go ahead and save. Now we need to come back into our text module, and we need to add a custom margin of 20% to the top, like that. So what we need to do next is to come over here to our advanced tab and click on CSS ID and classes. Now on the CSS ID, we need to add the name. Right, so if you recall, when we were adding the links, we added a £, and the name Adams. So that's an anchor link that we're going to create. So you need to make sure here on the CSS ID, it corresponds to that name. So once we're done with that, let's go ahead and save. Now it's time to add our gallery module. So I'm going to click on this plus sign, search for my gallery module. So in here, we're going to have 8 images. I'm just going to add 8. I'm going to click update gallery, and we're going to add our 8 images. So here I'm just selecting random 8 images. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to click on add to gallery. Let's click update gallery. And now we can see it's updated here. So let's go into the design. So come over here to layout, and the grid is fine, and we are happy with this being landscape. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some CSS code to customize this. So I'm just going to come over here to content, click on elements, and here we don't really need to show the title and caption. So I'm going to disable that, and also we don't need pagination. So I'm going to disable that too. So now it's time to add our CSS code. So I'm going to come over here to the advanced tab, click on custom CSS. And our CSS code needs to go on the main element. So I'm going to paste it in here. And now you can see that our gallery has been customized. Now, if you'd like to follow along, as mentioned before, just go ahead to the post, which I've linked in the show notes below, and access all the CSS code. So we're also going to add our overlay. So I'm going to paste my overlay code in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. And then save the page too. So now that we have our gallery in place, what we need to do next is to clone this section and have an opposite effect of what we have on this layout. So let me show you what I mean. So first of all, I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to come over here into our column structure, and we're going to have the opposite effect. So the one that we need now is this one. Okay. Now you can see that it looks a bit messed up. That's because we haven't dragged these to the right position. So I'm going to click this drag icon and drag this to the right. And then I'm going to take my text module and drag it to the right, like that. Okay, so we need to add a background color to this so that these two sections look different. So I'm going to come over here to my section settings, click on background, and I'm going to click my settings icon and paste my color like that, and save. Now what we need to do next is to change the name. So we can see here our next name on our list is Avery. So let's come over here and let's change that. So I'm going to come over here into the text settings, change the name. I'm going to come over here to my link, and I'm just going to add my anchor link and add 1 at the end of it. Click OK. And then we're going to come over here to the advanced tab, click on CSS ID and classes, and I'm going to add Avery 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, so now that we have everything in place, let's save our page and do a quick preview. So I'm going to hit Command S or Control S to save. And then I'm going to exit the Visual Builder. So now let's go through our page and see what it looks like. So that's it. So in the next video, we are going to show you how to create a gift list page to add to the wedding website. So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and do subscribe on our social media platforms. By doing so, you'll be notified every time we post new videos similar to what you've seen today. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you soon.